So we're here with our character, and the process to animate it is going to be exactly the same with the little ball. We are going to select the controllers here and we're going to move them around. You can select the controllers either in the viewport or here in the human IK system, and then we're going to be creating different keyframes using the S key or pressing this button here in animation, and then you can just move around a little bit and then have another keyframe, and then you have the animation. So the process is pretty much like this. We're going to create our main keyframes, and then we're going to go to the windows, animation editors, graph editors, and we're going to refine the interpolation of each keyframe. So that's the basic gist of everything that we're going to be doing right now. So I'm going to start the animation with we're going to start this with a simple attack motion. I think that's easier to start than to start directly with a walk cycle, which is a little bit more complex. We have to, in a walk cycle, you have to do some extra rigging and adjustments for the foot roll. So let's start with the attack. What I want to create here is not the guy shooting, because that would be too easy to have the guy just using the gun. What I want to create is like a melee attack. Like for some reason he has no armor, no ammo anymore in his gun, so he has to use the gun like a club and swing around. That's what I'm going to be doing here. So I'm going to start animating here, and I'm going to accelerate the video a little bit, and then when I'm done, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I did. So that's what we got here, like the character, like he has a kind of idle position, and then he swings to the back and he hits on the front with his weapon. Just basic animation, doing some keyframes. You probably noticed I used some specific ways to select. For example, I would go here and then I would go to select and select hierarchy. In this way, I'll select all the controls and then I would create a keyframe. I also have been pressing shift and clicking dragging here so I can move my frames around here in the timeline so I can change. This way I can also right click and I can copy and paste. For example, I can copy here and then paste the frame in this other part here. Likewise, if you click shift and click drag here, you can actually change the timing of your animation. So you can just make longer or make shorter. This is one of way to retime your animation. Pretty good if you want to retime everything. Uh, you probably noticed I did a lot of manually timing, just moving one by one because I wasn't sure I needed to change the time of everything. Sometimes you want to just one part, so it sometimes works better if you go one from one. So I'm gonna render this scene and then we're gonna start doing a walk cycle. So here's the animation, the rendered version of the attack. And so now let's go to the next one. So before we go to the walk cycle, I'm gonna create one extra attack. I'm gonna create a flying kick. But this time I'm gonna do a little bit differently. I'm gonna be using the auto keying mode here. So instead of selecting everything and then select the hierarchy and creating the keyframe, every time I move anything that is keyable, Maya is gonna create a key for me automatically. So it's a different way to do it, but it's interesting so you have an idea how you should do it. As the last one, I'm gonna accelerate the video and I'm gonna talk back when I end the animation. So there, there we have it, our final animation. So what I did differently here, the main thing is that I used auto keying throughout the whole animation. I only set the keys for the main controllers in the first frame. Then because I had auto keying selected, everything that I had a key, as I would move, he would create a key for me. It works. When I want a little bit more precision, I tend to use the manual keying. But when you're doing something a little bit quicker, that's okay. Uh, what else I did different? Pretty much that's what is. You have to pay attention to like the rules of animation. So before the kick, he goes back in anticipation, and then when he goes for the big kick here, you have like secondary animation of his arms like going back. So you have to start thinking about this, and then when he goes down, you have like the arm going forward, like more ahead than the rest of the body, and then he stabilizes again. And in the beginning and the end, you have kind of this idle animation where he's standing, but he's not like totally still. He's like moving a little bit, like you would in a fight. You would be like breathing like heavily and kind of moving a little bit. So you have to think in those little movements when you're animating. So I'm gonna render this and let's jump to the next one. So here's the rendered version of the kick. A nice kick in the face or in the belly, I don't know. So let's go to the next one. So for the walking cycle, we're gonna make a slight correction in the weight of the character, because if we go here and we rotate the toe, it's not rotating only the toe, is actually rotating this here. Most of the time you're doing like the action scene, or if you're doing like a game that the character is not really in a close up, or in animation, if you're not gonna have any focus on your feet, you could get away with just what we had without correcting this. But in this case, we do need to correct that really quick. So we're here in the rigging. We are gonna go to the paint weight painting tool. Gonna touch the guy here. So this is what is going on. Like this joint tool is affecting everything here. I'm here in the left toe base. I wanna get rid of that influence, so when I rotate, only the front part will be rotated. So make sure the value is in 0, not 1. It's gonna be 0. We're gonna be in replace mode, and we're gonna get rid of this. And this part here, I'm gonna get rid here. So let's see what I have here. Okay, now it's good enough. Now we just need to select the mesh, and we're gonna go to skin, mirror skin weights. Let's see if we have the correct axis, Y and Z, and mirror, boom. Then we can check here if we have the correct in the other side. Yes, it's the same, so we're good to go, and we're ready to animate our character. So for the walk cycle, it's gonna be pretty much the same we did in our animation one class. So if you took the class with me, you know what we did. But now I just wanted you to pay a little bit more attention to the foot roll. I'm gonna make this a little bit more realistic. If you did not take the animation one class with me, that's what we're going to be doing. I have the reference here. Walk cycles are the most basic skill that most character animators need to know when they're working a professional production. Is basically the ability to create just a full walk cycle. So I'm talking about like 2 steps, and then you can loop this, and then looks like the character is walking. So it's not that hard, but you really have to pay attention to the different parts of the walk cycle, of how the hip is not always in the same place. He kind of goes in a wavy motion during the walk cycle, and also the hips and the shoulders, they get inclined during the walk cycle. So like the last time, I'm gonna accelerate the video, and I'm gonna come back in the end and talk a little bit about what I did. So that's what we got, a walking cycle for our character. I could still go to my graph editor and refine some keys and some parts I wanted to be a little bit more smooth, but for a first take, not that bad. So I'm gonna render this and then I'll start the next one. So here's our rendered walking cycle. Very simple animation. As you can see, it's very easy to create a walk cycle with human IK. It takes a it takes some time. It's kind of labor intensive process, but it's not really hard to do. Now let's do the exact same thing with the run cycle, which is basically a walk cycle but with the character running. This one I won't use a reference here. I have a reference in my second monitor, but the principles are the same. So there we have it, a running cycle animation. Now I'm gonna render this. So here's our rendered running cycle. Very similar to the walk cycle, but running. And see you guys next week. Bye.